If you care about how people actually survive brutal climates without shortcuts, subscribe to the Legacy of Survival channel right now, because this is the kind of knowledge that gets lost when history is reduced to surface-level stories. What you're about to hear is not myth, not romanticism, and not guesswork. It's the real, hard-earned building logic that allowed Viking communities to live for generations in cold, wet, wind-scoured environments where mistakes meant rot, collapse, or death. This is a subject serious historians and survivalists should pay attention to, because Viking building wasn't primitive. It was refined through failure, observation, and ruthless environmental feedback. When people picture Viking homes, they think of rough timber huts struggling against the cold. The truth is far more impressive. Across Scandinavia and the North Atlantic, especially in places like Norway and Iceland, Viking builders understood that survival architecture wasn't about brute strength alone. It was about managing moisture, distributing weight, and choosing materials that worked with the climate instead of fighting it. The first critical decision was timber selection. Vikings didn't cut trees at random. They preferred slow-grown pine and spruce harvested in winter when sap content was low. This reduced internal moisture, slowing rot and insect damage. For modern builders or survivalists, the lesson is clear. If you're cutting your own timber, season and timing matter as much as species. Winter-felled wood lasts longer and warps less, even without chemical treatment. Once timber was chosen, the Vikings shaped it with purpose. Logs were split rather than sawn whenever possible. Splitting follows the natural grain, preserving structural strength and shedding water more effectively. You can apply this today by splitting beams for outdoor structures instead of milling them flat. Water runs off split surfaces instead of pooling, which dramatically extends lifespan in wet environments. Roof design was where Viking engineering truly separated itself from guesswork. Snow load was a constant threat, so roofs were steep, not decorative. Steep pitches ensured snow slid off before weight accumulated. The roofing layers themselves were systems, not single materials. Birch bark formed a waterproof membrane beneath sod or wooden shingles. Birch bark contains natural oils that resist decay for decades. Even now, birch bark can outperform many modern membranes when applied correctly. If you're building a shed or survival shelter, layering natural waterproofing under a heavy roof material remains one of the smartest designs possible. Rain management mattered just as much as snow. Viking longhouses extended their rooflines far beyond the walls. These deep eaves prevented water from ever touching the timber walls directly. Walls that stay dry do not rot. This is a principle you can apply instantly. Extend roof overhangs on any outdoor structure and you reduce maintenance by years, sometimes decades. Ground moisture was another enemy Vikings refused to ignore. Instead of placing timber directly on soil, they used stone footings or raised sill beams. This created airflow beneath the structure and prevented capillary moisture from creeping upward. In wet climates, many modern failures happen because builders skip this step. A simple stone base, even rough field stone, can dramatically increase a structure's lifespan without any modern materials. Joinery played a quiet but essential role. Vikings used complex interlocking joints that allowed buildings to flex. Rigid structures crack under freeze-thaw cycles, but flexible ones survive. Timber frames were designed to move slightly under wind, snow load, and seasonal shifts. For today's builders, especially in cold regions, over-tightening and over-rigid connections often cause long-term failure. Controlled movement is not weakness, it's durability. Wall construction also balanced insulation and moisture control. Thick plank walls or layered timber reduced heat loss while allowing vapour to escape. Smoke from indoor hearths further dried the interior timbers, acting as a natural preservative. This wasn't accidental. Viking households understood that fire wasn't just heat, it was maintenance. Even today, periodic heat and airflow are essential in cabins to prevent mould and decay. One of the most overlooked Viking strategies was site selection. They didn't build in low ground unless forced. Slight elevation improved drainage and reduced snow accumulation against walls. Wind exposure was calculated, not avoided. Controlled airflow dried structures after storms. For survivalists choosing camp or cabin sites, this lesson matters. Perfect shelter means nothing if the ground beneath it traps water. What made Viking construction endure wasn't any single trick. It was the integration of small decisions that respected climate realities. Timber strength was preserved by keeping it dry. Snow was defeated by gravity. Rain was redirected before it became a problem. No chemicals, no metal reinforcements, just observation and discipline. If you apply even half of these principles today, your structures will last longer, cost less, and require fewer repairs. That's why this knowledge still matters. If this kind of deep, practical history matters to you, subscribe to the Legacy of Survival channel, share this with someone who values real knowledge, and help keep these hard-won lessons alive for the next generation.